चलो चलिए जी बाय थैंक यू
Some say he can't stop washing bikes, and that he scared the people of Myanmar with the loud exhaust on his Phaser 1. All we know is he's Jasprit Singh. Harsh loves ice creams, and if he ever takes a break from that, he rides a Bandit 1250. That's me, Angad. I ride a 2002 Phaser 600, and I made lemon sodas every evening on this trip. Finally, we have Vinal, who rides a Phaser 8, and he kept us entertained throughout this trip.
morning to be very frank enough, if that entry was any better, like the initial few 30-40 minutes, whatever we did, those roads was were any better, I think it would have been much better. The trip would have been much better. I think so. That put us all in that. What do you say? Initial itself, we were like bogged down because of that. Those roads, I think so. And then I think roads in general, as Harsh told, was not bad, but it is only that we have gotten used to those Malaysian, Thailand roads that we always keep relating it to that, right? And the kind of bikes we ride, neither were they suited for those roads. For me, the whole trip, I was more like I'm back to India kind of sort of thing.
Point, I think a lot of us were like thinking, did we make a mistake of coming here during that period? I'm sure all of us thought it at one point. But after that cleared, I think when we stopped at the car wash to have a drink, I think from there we were like a bit better.
It's not even the first 30 or 40 kilometers. It's like, I think within the first 1 or 2 kilometers, I don't know if you guys remember, my front tire slipped when I tried to brake and I had to kick it up with my left leg. So that really shook me up. I'm like, yo, you can't even trust the tarmac here. What the hell is happening?
Now, when you told that you were expecting the bad roads, right? See, the truth is that even when it started, I think most of us would have been consoling us like 40 kilometers. And 40 kilometers for us nowadays is like half an hour ride. And it is just a matter of like half an hour we'll be done with it. But what we were not realizing is that what speed we were doing. Obviously, we were slowing down. The engines were heating up. And all that adds to the frustration, right? And it went on and on.
Easier to come back on that road because you knew just how long it was.
Yeah, exactly. Like coming back, we didn't feel it long at all. And I think, and both of us, Harsh, you and me, we went down because of the cliff. Otherwise, it would have been fine.
True.
But I think traffic in general, I think we were too fast for them.
Traffic, it is the main thing that Malaysia, obviously, nobody comes in between we and the roads. And Thailand, we have still got wider roads that we can still run here and there. Here, there is no choice but to either slow down or you have to face it anyway. There is no other choice.
What is your all?
Acha, either slow down or go and hit, no. But anyway, Jasprit would have enjoyed half a bit of it because he got to do a lot of boom, right?
See, that's a side of Jasprit I've never seen before or after,
No.
I think everybody had near misses.
Oh, yeah.
The worst was where I was about to T-bone a truck. This is basically, Vinal was in front of me and Jasprit was behind me. This is among, I think, towards the end of the trip. And then Vinal overtook the truck. Then there was an auto coming, so I was just waiting for the auto to clear through, and then I would overtake. And as I was overtaking, the truck turned its indicator to left and suddenly turned left. Fast enough I couldn't stop. So the only option was to just take that left turn with the truck and believe that the truck chap has cleared the road. And I kind of just went, and then on the way, as I was turning around, I saw Jasprit looking questionably, what is he trying to do? Where is he?
For me, the over the time, what I have realized is that misses have become so common, I think, that I don't really remember a lot. But there were a couple of things which stuck with me. One was when we were returning in that bad stretch of road where you guys fell, right? I think so. It was a bit before that. So the road, they had put water on the road, what we can't call road actually. It was completely muddy or whatnot. Jasprit was probably behind me, and you guys both were in front of me, I think so. So there was a truck, and I could see there is a gap on the left. It was so small, but I just want to overtake it. So I give it some gas, and in between, what happens is that the rear wheel starts spinning, and I am pulled towards the truck. For a moment, I thought like, okay, probably this is how it's gonna end. The trip is gonna end like this. Luckily, I get traction back and I overtake the truck. And for 2 minutes, I'm like, that's stuck in my mind, right? Because I nearly saw myself going into the truck and then I escaped.
She was a bullock, right?
The one near Bagan.
Yeah, that one Anggot saw. I think that was there was one more on the way back on the muddy road. Same thing. I think, Vinod, you were behind me at one point, remember? Towards the end. Then there was a stupid bikers trying to stay with us. With the other pillion, remember? Yeah. So, that point I was already in front of that guy. And there was a car in front of them. So I was trying to overtake that car. And that car decided there's a pothole and he almost went all to the left. And I almost went into a tree.
Oh.
Then after that, that was the only point I was like, okay, what's this guy trying to do? Like, I was literally beside his door.
I still remember in Burma, there something had happened that somebody came out of a side road into me, and then somehow he missed it and then came to you or Angad. I don't really remember.
Me.
Oh, you, okay.
Yeah.
Because we were in the right side of the road and they were not, and which they don't bother about anyway. So, yeah.
I think this is something Marius had warned me about before I had gone to Burma. He says, they don't look. They come charging out onto the street and then they just, join the main road and carry on. And I remember seeing it on one of the days we were riding that they ride parallel to the road and they just slip into the road. So I'm like, okay lah, not so bad lah, they're just slipping in. I just have to keep away from the edge of the road. But that incident that you're talking about, Vinal, he came from the opposite direction. We're going straight and he's coming right into us. And our nature is to always deflect left. And he's deflecting to his right, putting us more in
Right.
And I think that is where I realized that we have to rework our instinct of which side we deflect to.
Correct.
Deflecting to the right would have been better, but that's all on hindsight. He missed you, and then he was right in my path. And I remember the look on his face, like, what are you guys doing? Why are you making so much noise? Why are you honking? Like, what are you doing?
This is common thing for me. What is big deal?
Yeah, like what's wrong with you? The one that really shook me up was on the road from the Gold Factory to Mount Popa. There are people standing along the road, old people, right? And somebody threw money from the truck and or one of those buses. And these people just ran onto the road, and I actually have it on video. And on the video, it doesn't look that shocking, but I remember it being extremely shocking. I'm braking hard, honking, and I felt I'm just going to run over that guy. But on the video, there seems to be a lot more space. There's this other incident that happened where I'm riding, and how that road was, right? The ground is slightly lower, the road is a bit higher. And a car decides to overtake a bus or something along those lines. And at the same time, I'm riding, and there's this small kapchai next to me.
Yeah. I was behind you, I think.
Right? And I had no way but to, go almost to the edge or slightly off the road. And I was like, I'm going to hit this fellow. But he had the presence of mind, and he probably knew that these foreigners are useless. They're going to hit me or something. He ran wide into the off-road patch and gave me space. And I waved his hand, and he's like, yeah, it's perfectly fine, no issue. So I think
I do it every day. So when you say that the beggars or whoever came into your way, right? So you were riding in front of me and I was behind you. The first time it happened, it was more like very strange to me, right? We won't understand that because there is nothing to be seen over there. There is no temple or anything like that. So why would people be standing on the road and then begging? We don't even think that. So the first person or first two people, like when they ran onto you, kind of thing, I was totally shocked. I was like, are they going to attack us or what? or is it something else going on? So it didn't strike me initially that they're probably trying to get something out of us. So like, for a moment I was shocked.
Yeah, initially I thought they were asking for lift because they were like waving their hand up and down or something like that. I thought they were asking for lift. I think later you guys told me no, they were asking for money. I think Harsh told me that no, they were asking for money.
Yeah.
I remember,
there's one more
we
point.
went through a dry river bed, right?
Yeah.
And they were waving, and Harsh was like, yeah, I just waved back at them.
Yeah, I saw you waving back. Hello.
For me, it was basically the trip from Inle onwards. The climb on the mountain. The road was still bad at the top, but at least it was nice, cold, and the view was good. So I didn't mind going through the rubble and all those things of going through that thing. So that was cool. And the initial roads up to the mountain were the kind of sweeping curves that I usually like to ride on. So that was quite nice to kind of quickly go.
Riding in cold was pretty good because after all those hot riding, I think once we were near the Inle kind of thing, I think so it was pretty cold and roads were pretty decent too. So altogether it was a good mix. Like going towards Inle, I think so the twisties were pretty good. The climate was pretty chill.
After lunch, going towards Inle, those wide roads, those turns and all.
And it helped that the weather was a little cooler.
Yes.
So in terms of scenery, in terms of the ride, in terms of just being in my zone, being alone and riding, I think that's something that I really enjoyed. Traffic was extremely low for once. There was one road which had very minimal traffic. The views were stunning. I remember parking the bike on the road, walking down to a stream and seeing the houses and the boats next to it and all that. I think
the low moment was basically me getting stuck in sand. My bike just stood in the sand, where that was basically, I revved. This is basically, I think, going to Bagan, where through those oil fields and all, right?
Yeah.
So I got stuck there. So I thought, okay, let me throttle it out, and that didn't work. That basically dug the rear wheel fairly high. That I got off the bike and the bike was standing.
I think the loop was just generally the bad roads. I think it was just extra tiring. I mean, if not for that, I think it would have been quite a fun ride. I think it's just that points. The views were nice. Certain points, the views are really nice. The fields beside you and whatever. But afterwards, it just got tiring.
In terms of the low moment, I think was the second day ride from starting late and I being upset with Jaw and then the roads being really, really, really shitty, right? In terms of the people, in terms of the traffic, in terms of just the tarmac quality, because that stretch is extremely bumpy. On the return, I lost my horn relay over there, right? So you can imagine, right? It was really, really terrible. So putting all of that together, I think that was the lowest moment of my trip, which in a way is good. It started at after that, everything just got better and culminated in Inle. So for me, on the whole, the trip was just getting better.
Right.
Yeah, I think Bagan was something that I was very excited to go see. Unfortunately, I didn't read up enough about the history of the temple. So the actual going and walking around the temple, I think had Jaw not been there, we wouldn't have spent that much time there. So thankfully, we had Jaw to tell us about the temples and, about the different corners and the different days and, how the air circulation goes on in the temple. So I think that was very good. I think without a doubt, going up to that tower was probably the best.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
When the light
until the bus came. Before that, it was nice and peaceful.
Yeah.
True.
I think the hair wash was probably one of the better ones I've had. Right? You lie down and they wash your hair. I mean, it doesn't get better than that. It's the head massage. It's the head massage. It's really that head massage that, that's just amazing. I think Bagan on the whole felt like a holiday.
Yeah.
I think all the food in Bagan was generally very good. Very rich food. I think that also tired us a lot, but I think that was I think
food was really good.
Yeah. Mandalay, the sunset was brilliant, and I probably the best sunset.
Yes.
Yeah, at UPN Bridge. On the whole, Mandalay as a city, I think quite disappointing.
I think only we had good Burmese food in Mandalay at the cafe.
Yeah, there was Onok Houseway. There was I can't remember what I ate, but yeah, it was proper like Burmese
the food
noodles
was,
and
yeah.
curry and all that. Yeah.
So I think on the second day in Mandalay, I decided to take an early morning visit to the Mahagandaya monastery in Mandalay, while the others were sleeping, and then they I think later planned to go to see the Mandalay Hills, which I was not very interested in. And since I was not in the mood to ride, I decided I'll try the Grab Thonban, which is basically the tuk-tuk that you see in Thailand, but slightly smaller version of the same. And it was an interesting to see sort of Mandalay just about coming to life as shops were opening up. Statue factories or smaller shops which make those Buddha statues, and workers trying to carve the stones into Buddha, and outside you could literally see various different stages that a statue goes through before you kind of see the final version. We finally made it down to the monastery just in the nick of time to kind of see the almsgiving ceremony, which attracts more than 1,000 plus monks and even more than that tourists who come to see the whole ceremony.
Okay, interesting characters.
Jasprit.
Okay, so interesting characters, Jasprit, huh? Okay.
Because I never rode with him before,
Huh.
right? I didn't interact much with him before. This is first trip, and like trust me, I really enjoyed the trip because of him. Because I think he doesn't talk much, but when he does, there were interesting characters, right? You remember the guy who was crossing the road, and when the signal went on, he was like standing in between the road and then saying, "Okay, go ahead, whatever you want to do, hit me."
I met quite a few people because most of my riding was without you guys, right? And after the second day, I got lost, and then I realized that Google Maps is not gonna trust. And most of the people were very helpful and sent me on very, very good roads. So like on second day, I asked someone when I was way behind you guys because of the bike issue. So he said, "Why are you going this way? Just turn left, and there'll be a beautiful road through the field, and it'll take you to an even more beautiful road." I think towards the end, I met this biker who was riding a Honda 200, I think, and doing basically, I think, Mandalay to Inle. Right, so had basically had a nice conversation with him, had a meal with him, and then sort of we continued on our own. Because I was riding alone and not really focused on where the map is sending me. After every 25-30 km, I would usually stop, ask someone, "Am I in the right direction?" People would then say, "Okay, where are you going? Why don't you take this road?"
You remember when we were going towards Inle and we stopped for lunch? Remember how bikes were parked just in front of the restaurant and there was a school across the road?
Right.
So you remember till that, I mean, basically the whole trip, people generally stand away from your bike. They don't want to touch your bike. They, just stand generally away. But as a small kid, he was waiting to cross the road, waiting for the guy to try to cross the road. He came, he touched my bike, then he looked at the guard. Did he catch me or not? Because before that, nobody actually touches your bike, right? So it's like, he did it like defiant kind of thing. He touched it, then he looked at the guard, did anyone see me? Yeah, that was the only thing I was like, okay, it's interesting. But nobody saw it. That's the funny thing. Nobody actually saw it.
You were shooting that bullock cart in slow motion or what? Jasprit was probably shooting that. And I went into the field towards the riverbed, right?
Oh, that one, yeah. After the farmer was killed you, yes.
Yeah, so I went in and then saw that there was a field. If I get to the other end of the field, I can park the vehicle next to the river and whatnot. So I take the bike into the field by the side and then go all the way till the end. And then I see this guy giving me a very weird look, like, "Why are you like entering my field with a motorcycle?" kind of thing. And then what he does is that he collects all the thorny bits of branches or whatnot and then puts it on my way so that I can't return back. I'm like, man, I'm stuck here. And literally I was stuck because at the end I had to make a U-turn, and if I have to make a U-turn, I have to get onto his field, and I was definitely sure this guy will get this. And then I see like boom coming and parking his bike. I'm like, okay, now I'm saved. I have a partner. Even if I'm getting beaten, there is one more. Then Angad comes, and this guy, Jasprit, just walks. He's like, "What happened?" I'm like, I'm taking a U-turn. Come. Then he removes all the branches, and that guy comes running and like, don't remove. Then he's like, "Why? The bike has to come now." Then I come out. Found our guide to be. I probably told you, Angad, that he, like, the way he talks, the way he is in general, his behavior it's like a known person to me. Like there was somebody who had worked with me, and he moved on to US now, I guess. So he's like, he felt like the other person. So I was like, there are a lot of common things in them, right? The way they talk, the way they walk, whatever it is. So yeah.
So on the get-go, I realized that unlike in Thailand, in Myanmar, when you smile at them, they just give you a very, very confused look. So they come across as being, unfriendly and whatever not. But I think that's far from the truth. Police guide at Kaitko at the Golden Rock. A very cute fellow. I have a selfie with him. And, he wanted to pay for his own breakfast. And, I think 2 or 3 times he saved my life because I was taking photos without paying attention to my surroundings. That showed me, actually Burmese people are, just like anybody else, very nice. Joe, I think he was very good in what he did. Of course, he had his moments like, in Inle when he got drunk, he told me you figure out the way on your own. I think the other one person, if I had to choose from the trip, was that Panch Ratan.
Right.
And he's a Bihari of Bihari origins, and his great-grandfather or somebody had moved there. And he was named Panch Ratan because his father had 5 and he was the 5th one, so he's like, chalo Panch Ratan naam rakho. So, and that's the first time I actually ate the roadside food, because I was petrified of eating roadside food. I'd been scared so much in Thailand about, the bad food and getting bad stomach and whatever not. So I think he was a very interesting character to talk to, and it was almost because every Indian I have met outside of India, they know about India. This guy didn't even know where Bihar is in India.
Yeah.
So that's how disconnected they are, but they speak the proper dialect, their accent, their dressing, their women dress exactly the same way and everything.
One thing I would want to highlight is the biggest highlight for me in Burma was the biryani on the first day. How can somebody forget that, man? We even discussed of going back to the same place at 7 o'clock in the morning while returning.
Okay, the good was a welcome surprise. Like the first time I saw you, like, what's this? Like, I remember Vinod saying, what the tea is this?
Vinod, what is it that you're eating?
Cockroach.
Cockroach, ah?
Caramelized with good.
Caramelized with good, ah? How tasty, ah?
Very tasty. Coconut with good.
Eating the cold cuts, specifically the cold cuts in Bagan.
The cafe.
Yeah, the cafe where you guys had
right?
pizza, right? The cold cuts there, I think, were really the highlight in terms of food. I think Seven Sisters was nice, that the Asian food that was cooked actually had fresh meat and tasted very well. And I think to any Punjabi people going there, please carry tea bags with you. You do not get tea in Myanmar, right? You get green tea.
Desi cha kind of thing.
You don't get our desi cha. You'll get milk, but please carry your tea bags. Otherwise, you're not getting tea. What you will get is something called Royal Burma tea, which is just sugar. So yeah, food is not great in Myanmar. Local Myanmar cuisine, I think we tried very little. They have a lot of fermented dishes. I remember we went to one restaurant thinking we'll get khao suey there, and I don't know who it was, but was probably Harshla, knowing his character, that he was just so terribly turned off by that sour smell. We left from there. We changed money with Joe outside the restaurant, went in and were like, oh, and everything.
I mean, the one thing that I realized that if someone else wants to do it, or if I'm going to do this trip again, is going to pace it out more. Relax in Inle, relax in sort of Bagan, Mandalay. Aside for food, you can sort of kick.
When I get into Burma, the main attraction point, and we had talked about this, that, okay, once we do Burma, the next might be India. Going to Burma, that was most exciting thing to me. Doesn't really matter how the roads are, where we are ending up, doesn't really matter. So I might go to Bagan, rent out a scooter or something like that, which I don't want to be speeding or anything over there. Just want to be really relaxed, go in, explore. There are plenty of things, like even if it is like, people say that, okay, they are like old buildings which all look the same and whatnot, but every building tells you something of that sort. I felt there. Probably Inle is another place, but to me, Bagan will do it for me. Like, that is one thing which stands out for me. So yeah.
I'm glad we are smiling because that's exactly what we spoke about that day. Literally, go to Bagan, get a bike, ride around, and fly back.
Right.
Not going to ride in.
No. Seriously.
Yeah, but I think the standout basically was Bagan. Inle also, to be honest, India Lake was nothing spectacular for me, at least. It was like, I mean, it's nice place, but it wasn't spectacular, like like that kind of thing. But I won't go there just for Inle Lake again. I'll go there for the cold temperatures and just to explore a bit more around the area, but I won't really go there for the lake. Like it's you do it once and you don't need to do it again, kind of thing.
Right. Ubian Bridge was a real highlight for me. Maybe one night just to be at Ubian Bridge and then leave. I don't know. Golden Rock is not a big deal. Even if you skip it, I think that's fine. Like on the first day, try to hit a further distance if you can, In fact, my next ride into Burma would be if I'm crossing to India. Apart from that, I don't really see myself. See, if going to Burma didn't cost as much money with a guide and everything, I think I would have probably still done it just to explore. But spending that kind of money again for the same thing.
Now this is the route that we took in Myanmar. We started at Mewadi and we rode up all the way to Old Bagan. From there we went to Mount Popa, Mandalay, Inle, and we came back down the same way. We took 8 days to do this route, but 10 days might be a better bet. Now how much you pay for this trip is dependent on the number of people going as well as the number of days being spent. So that's what you pay the guide, and then on top of that you pay for food and fuel. Now one thing I would share with you is that Myanmar is a fantastic place, but unfortunately you cannot go off wandering on your own, especially on your motorcycle. This country has a lot of civil wars going on in different states, and these are extremely volatile conditions. It may be perfectly fine a week or 2 weeks prior to your arrival, but then situation may completely change. So please check with your guide before you wander off on a different route, because that could have severe consequences for you as well as for your guide. So please don't jeopardize your safety or your guide's safety. So if you want to go somewhere that's not planned or on a route that's not planned, talk to your guide and he will advise you accordingly. Please listen to them. They're telling you this for your own benefit. Myanmar is a fantastic country. The Burmese are a wonderful people. So please take time out and go visit Myanmar.